The power of focusing on strengths. Have you ever had a boss, teacher who only pointed out what you did wrong? How does that make you feel? Most of us know what it's like to have our flaws magnified while our strengths are overlooked. We live in a culture that zeroes in on weaknesses, sometimes with good intentions to help us improve, but it often leaves us discouraged and disengaged. Why do we spend so much time fixing weaknesses instead of building on strengths? It's a question every leader and influencer should ponder. Now imagine the opposite. Think of a leader who notices what you do right, who highlights your talents and positive qualities. Doesn't that kind of encouragement make you stand taller and make you want to do more? It does for me. Today, I want to talk about a simple but powerful shift in our leadership approach, focusing on people's strengths rather than on their weaknesses. It's a conversational idea, but it carries an inspirational and persuasive punch that can transform teams, families, and relationships in general. First, let's acknowledge the problem. We are trained to spot weaknesses from early on. In many workplaces, for example, performance reviews are all about finding flaws. Managers often feel obligate, obligated to include some areas of improvement, even for outstanding employees. This endless focus on what's wrong conditions people to see development as fixing weaknesses, not expanding strengths. No wonder so many people get discouraged when all you hear about is where you fall short. You start to believe that you are not enough and there's no need in trying. This doesn't just happen at work, it happens in everyday life and relationships. Parents, teachers, even friends often spend more time correcting faults than celebrating strengths. We do it to others and we do it to ourselves. Think about the last time you received a compliment versus the last time you received a criticism. Which one did you replay in your mind all day? Which one stuck with you? If you're like most of us, the criticism sticks like glue, while the praise slips away. Focusing on weaknesses is the default, but it's not the most effective way to grow leaders or grow people. What if we flipped the script and started building on strengths? There's compelling evidence that this approach works. Gallup research shows that developing people's strengths leads to significant increases in performance, along with better engagement, well being, and business results. When people are encouraged to use their natural talents, they excel, perform better, and feel more motivated. It's not just feel good talk, it's backed by data and results. Statisticians say that every person on this planet does at least one thing better than 10,000 other people. Think about that for a second. There is at least one area in which you are virtually world class among thousands of people. The same is true for each member of your team, each student in your class, each family member, each person you meet. Yet, how often do we discover that one thing? Sadly, many people go through life without ever recognizing their greatest strength. They don't know what it is, sometimes because no one ever pointed it out to them. Wouldn't it be awful if you, someone you know, never discovered that one thing you excel at? As leaders, and we're all leaders in some sphere of our life, we have the opportunity to help people find out what that one thing is, or that multitude of things. By shifting our focus to what's strong instead of what's wrong, we can unlock potential that might otherwise lie dormant. Imagine the impact on a person when someone they respect says, "You know what I see in you? I see talent. I see something special." Pointing out strengths and positive qualities can instantly uplift them. It tells people, "I see you, the real you, at your best." And that can be a game changer. Let me share a powerful, true story to illustrate the impact focusing on strengths. Years ago, a high school teacher decided to try a simple experiment in her classroom. She asked her students to write down the nicest thing they could say about every other student in the room. She wanted them to identify their classmates' strengths, positive qualities, and put them on paper. It took the whole class period, and the kids turned in their list as they left. Over the weekend, the teacher went through all the papers and compiled a personal list of compliments for each student, essentially a list of that student's strengths as seen through the eyes of their peers. On Monday, she handed each student their list. Action was immediate and remarkable. Smiles, disbelief, even happy tears, things you don't see in classrooms a lot. Really? I never knew I meant anything to anyone, someone whispered. I didn't know others liked me so much. That exercise changed the atmosphere of the class. You can imagine how affirmed and valued each student felt, seeing pages of their strengths and good qualities listed out. The teacher never had to bring it up again. The students kept those lists and moved on with their lives, a little more confident than before. You can imagine how valued each student felt, seeing pages of their strengths and good qualities listed out. Fast forward a few years, one of those students, a young man named Mark, tragically died in combat in Vietnam. The teacher attended Mark's funeral. As she stood by the coffin, Mark's father approached her. "We found this on Mark when he was killed," his father said, and he pulled up a worn, creased piece of paper from Mark's wallet. It was a list of the strengths that they had put together in that class, all the good things Mark's classmates had written about him. Mark had carried that piece of paper with him everywhere. "Thank you so much for doing this," Mark's mother told the teacher. As you can see, Mark treasured it. A group of Mark's former classmates overheard and chimed in. One said, "I still have my list. It's in the top of my desk drawer." Another said, "Mine is in my wedding album." Someone else confessed, "I carry mine with me in my wallet at all times." In fact, almost every one of those students still had the list years later. That simple exercise, taking a moment to point out each other's strengths, had left a lasting mark on their lives. Even as adults, through college and careers, they had held on to those words. That is the powerful impact of pointing out someone's strengths. It wasn't just a feel good classroom activity, it became a source of courage and self worth that these people carried through life. What does this story tell us? It reminds us that people hunger for encouragement. A few sincere words about someone's strengths can stick with them forever. In this case, it literally saved tangible proof of their worth. How many of us have notes or messages of praise that we stash away and look at when we need a boost? We all need to be reminded of the good in us. You can be that person, give that gift, help people see themselves in a new positive light. Now, let's turn this insight toward you and the people in your life. I have a question for you. Who in your life could use a reminder of their strengths? Take a moment and really think. Maybe it's a colleague who's been doubting themselves after a setback. Maybe it's a friend or family member who seems to hear criticism from others. Perhaps it's one of your children who compares themselves to siblings or classmates, and they feel less than. We've all been there throughout life, early and even today. Is there someone you know who is always hard on themselves or whose gifts are being overlooked? Bring that person to mind. Think about what you could do to help them. Once you have someone in mind, consider this. Have you ever explicitly told them what you admire about them? If not, why not do it? Sometimes we assume people already know their strengths, but many times they don't or downplay them. That colleague might not realize that her knack for solving problems fast is a real talent and an asset to the organization. Your child might not see this creativity in drawing comics as something special. Your friend might not brush off their ability to listen empathetically as a rare and valuable strength. Who in your circle needs to hear what they're great at? Who could you encourage today by pointing out something good about them that they may not see in themselves? I want to challenge you to put this into practice on a daily basis. Here's your leadership assignment. And yes, you are a leader to someone. Identify one person in your life and point out one of their strengths. Do it today. It could be a direct conversation, quick text, an email, whatever feels right for you. The key is to be specific and authentic. For example, you might say to a coworker, I've noticed how organized you are. Your attention to detail on projects keeps the team on track, and I admire that. To your child, you have such a big heart. The way you helped your friend the other day showed so much kindness. That's a real strength of yours, and we need kindness. Or maybe to your spouse or a friend, you are so creative. The ideas you come up with always amaze me. Not everyone can think like that. Make it a point to uplift someone by highlighting their strengths, no matter how small. In fact, consider making this a habit, not a one time thing. Write down what you're grateful for each day. Great leaders and coaches make a habit of pointing out other strengths and positive qualities daily. You might be surprised at the reaction you get. Don't be shocked if the person's eyes light up or even well up with tears, because positive feedback can be deeply moving when it's genuine and rare in life. And guess what? You could be helping them see themselves in a new light permanently. You might be the person who hands them their list, so to speak, that mental list of strengths that they'll carry for many years, maybe even the rest of their life. There's an added bonus. When you start highlighting other strengths, it creates a culture of appreciation around you. In a workplace, that can increase morale and teamwork. In a family, it builds confidence and love. Positivity is contagious. People start to pay it forward. One compliment or acknowledgement can spark a chain reaction encouragement. As you practice this, noticing strengths in others, you'll likely start being kinder to yourself as well. Acknowledging your own strengths instead of dwelling on weaknesses. It's a win win for everyone. I personally believe that each person is on this earth for a reason. We've all been given unique gifts, talents, strengths for a purpose. One author put it this way: every person's talent is their ticket, and it's part of the reason God put them here on this planet. That resonates with me. It means that when you help someone discover their particular God given strength, you're not just giving them a compliment, you're possibly helping them step into what they were created to do. There's a light, spiritual undertone to this. By seeing the good in others, you might be reflecting the way God sees them. You're helping them realize their inherent worth and potential, which is a very meaningful mission. If you're a person of faith, you might frame it as helping others see their God given purpose. If not, you can view it as bringing out the best in people. Either way, it's a noble and uplifting thing to do. We all have a spark inside of us. Sometimes it just takes someone else to fan it into a flame. Let's envision the kind of world or workplace or home we create when we choose to focus on strengths instead of a culture of critique. When we do that, we build a culture of growth and confidence. Instead of people hiding their weaknesses and fear, we see people leveraging their strengths with excitement. When leaders make this shift, people don't just perform better, they feel better. They feel seen, valued, and motivated to contribute their best. And isn't that what great leadership is about? Helping others become the very best of themselves. Remember that statistic mentioned earlier. Each person can do at least one thing better than 10,000 other people. Your challenge as a leader is to find one of people around you and shine a light on that. Like the teacher in our story, you have the ability to give someone a gift that might stay with them for the rest of their life. So as we wrap up, I leave you with this. Who will you lift up today? Who will you encourage by telling them what they excel at and make them feel special? And will you continue to do it again and again, letting people know that? The returns on this simple investment of words are incredible. You'll see people blossom. You'll build trust and loyalty, and you'll feel a sense of fulfillment because helping others is one of the most rewarding things a person can do. Thank you for listening. Now go out there and lead by focusing on strengths. Point out that one thing one person does better than anyone else. Encourage them to keep doing it, to develop it and run with it. In doing so, you'll transform their life, your leadership, and impact on the world. Who knows? You might just set off a chain of positive change, one strength at a time. So, who in your life could use that reminder today?